So the lymphatic system and the gut are really tightly related. There is over 300 lymph nodes in your belly, like in your gut, and it's responsible for maintaining the fluid balance. It's responsible for fat absorption. So you think about weight gain, not being able to lose weight, that type of thing. But also when we talk about fat absorption, it is about the transportation of fats and hormones and vitamins, around vitamin D, around the body. So the transportation of those fats and your immune system, your gut associated lymphatic tissue, there is, 70% of your immune system is in your gut. So massive, really, when we're talking about the lymphatic system, and the immune system, protecting you from harmful bacteria and pathogens and toxins, like in your belly. There's trillions of that microbiome that live in your belly. So things that we see in clinic, definitely constipation. I had a client this week who was only going to the toilet, we're going to say poo, was only pooing once every 8 to 10 weeks, right? Once every 8 to 10 weeks. So her system was so toxic, septic, really. And her co-workers out at Ipswich Volvo, I think they work, said, you have to come in, you have to go and see, get some lymphatic work done. She's now pooing twice a day. She is feeling so much more alive instead of scared and sick. Other professionals that she went and saw said that she would only be able, for her to poo once a week was going to be great. And yeah, so definitely constipation, bloating. We see a lot of bloating, a lot of constipation. The gloves help so much massaging children. Now, babies eat. When a baby eats, they poo. So if we need to, every time we eat, we should be pooing. The poo doesn't have to wait all and hold hands and all just come out at once, like once a day or once every couple of days. So that's what we see in clinic. And then we can talk about anxiety. I think if you want to, you can cover the anxiety and that types of things. But constipation, your immune system, the white blood cells, like all of that has got to do with the lymphatic system and gut. So yeah, all the things that we talk about, you will feel better doing when it comes to lymph, and like the healthy diet, the moving your body, the drinking water, like all of those things, super important when it comes to gut health and lymphatics.
And I love that you mentioned such a variety of symptoms, Chelsea, because when your gut isn't working, there's things called symptom pictures, and in naturopathy and other types of integrative therapies, you talk about symptom pictures, and it's these are the things that happen, and it starts to paint a picture of what's actually going on the inside. And a lot of people don't realize that some of the external symptoms that they're actually presenting will give a really good indication of what's going on internally and what they can't see. And the biggest challenge with certain medical models is that a lot of the symptoms are treated rather than the cause. And so, if you've got acne or bloating or tiredness or weight gain, what normally happens is a patient or a client would see that and go, oh, well, I need to go lose weight. So then they go speak to a dietitian or somebody down that particular vein. And that may get them, some symptom relief, and they might start to notice a shift in that thing. But the reality is it sustainable? Is it a sustainable approach when really we're dealing with the chicken, not the egg? And sometimes we need to deal with the egg. We need to unwrap the layers of the onion to get to the core issue and deal with the thing that's causing it. Because in terms of like the laws of cause and effect, unless we address the cause, we're consistently just putting the Band-Aid on, putting the Band-Aid on, putting the Band-Aid on, which is where people end up in chronic condition states where they've got recurring symptoms, or something that leads to something that leads to something, or in the reverse, where they've been prescribed medication and then that's then caused a whole heap of other symptoms that then they need another medication for, and they end up in this cycle of going down all of this pharmacological shit show.
Yeah.
And then they wonder why they're not getting any better. So I'd really like to know, Oz, in your experience, So I might go at the end, but in your experience, I guess, in what you're seeing in clinic, what are some of the symptoms and some of the biggest issues that you are unpacking when it comes to people and their gut? Because I know this is something you're all over.
Yeah. So that's what they say now, no? That the microbiome is the new genome. So it's all the connections that our bowel has with all the systems in the body. And that's all the sort of symptoms that you can get, like from this bloating, obviously is the number one symptom, pain, constipation, diarrhea, but then you go all the way to lack of concentration, to headaches, migraines, and many other things. In my experience, what I work with in terms of bowel disorders is the connection between or the stages in terms of a chronic disease and inflammation. So everything starts, inflammation is the first stage. So everything starts with inflammation in the body. And once that inflammation has been there for a long time and becomes a systemic inflammation, then you start getting the second stage of the problem, which is toxicity.